All right. Well, good to be back with everybody. It's been a long time, and I know everyone here is eager to get back on the practice field. Certainly a unique year with a lot going on, and it's going to be a great challenge, each and every day as we navigate this. So our players are back on campus and preparing for a Friday start to our fall practice as we prepare for the November 7th opener, and really appreciative of our chancellor, our athletic department, for the steps they've taken to help provide an environment for us and our players to be back on the practice field. And it's been difficult for a lot of people out there, and we're trying to do our part to get back on the field and do what we all love to do, and that's play the game of football. So glad to be back with you, and look forward to a great season.
All right, thanks, Coach. We'll go to Q&A now, and we'll start it off with Jeff Ferrauto.
Can you hear me, Justin?
Yeah, Jeff, I got you.
Great. Can you just clear up, has the city of Berkeley and the Alameda County cleared you guys fully to practice on Friday? Are there any restrictions you're facing beyond the state's limit of 75 player cohort?
We are not cleared as of today. We are anticipating getting clearance today or tomorrow, and that would be the final piece that would allow us to practice in cohorts of 75. And
do you have any concerns that you won't get that approval, or are there all signs encouraging, or where does that stand, do you think?
We anticipate getting that approval. It's not our decision. And so we've followed the protocol set forth by the state and our public health officials, and then our doctors and trainers and sports medicine staff. So we anticipate getting that clearance, but again, it's not my decision to make.
If I can ask a follow-up question on a different topic, you guys announced your roster for the fall season yesterday. There's some names that we probably expected to see on there that aren't. Wonder if you can comment on the reasons why, in particular, Tevin Paul and Deshaun Collins, Jeremiah, wide receiver. Can you give us any insights on why they're not with you?
Yeah, there were guys that opted out for COVID concerns, and we support those guys and their decisions, and everybody has to make their own and what's best for them. And then there's some guys who made decisions beyond COVID and just life decisions. So there's kind of a mix of guys in there. I think we have a total of, 7, 8, 9, something like that. Scholarship players and walk-on players who made decisions this offseason and will not be with us.
Is Tevin Paul's his decision?
Yes, Tevin Paul's decision. Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, next question, we will go to Rusty Simmons.
Hey, Coach, thanks for doing this morning.
Yeah, good to hear from you, Rusty. Hope you're doing well.
Yeah, doing okay. Just wondering if you could help us out with kind of some of the more creative things you guys have had to do this offseason during the pandemic. And this may be impossible without knowing the exact protocols going forward, but some creative ideas you have if you do get approvals from approval of the state and county.
Yeah, it's been a collaborative effort on figuring out how to, obviously the meetings, it's Zoom. We've kind of been working on that since March, it seems like now, and how to engage with our players when you can't see them face-to-face physically. So a lot of Zoom meetings. And then when we were able to come back and do some things physically with them, just, outdoor weight rooms, the protocol to get into the stadium, how they set the whole thing up. So really nice job by everybody involved. Took a lot of work, and we're constantly adjusting based on what the public health order, directive is. And so whether it's, strength conditioning or treatment, or how we get them food, how we do their laundry, the players obviously go into virtual classes, virtual academic meetings. And there's just a lot of logistics involved. And when you got a team of, over 100 people, and that's just the players, and then you add staff and support staff, and it just, there's quite a bit to it. And, we're still going to have to adjust going forward. I don't think this is going to be, kind of plug and play. Even as of now, we're in groups of 16 to 18 players, give or take, with some kind of on the field workouts and conditioning exercises with our strength staff. And then when we start Friday, we have cohorts of 75. So there's some broken practices, basically 2 different practices. So you can make sure to continue to develop everybody on your team and still abide by the public health guidelines and provide an environment that everybody's approved of. So.
And just in general, how have the players adapted to this? Is an odd time for everybody, but how have they done with all this?
They've done just a great job. I mean, it's not easy for anybody. It's not easy for you or our players or anybody out there with what's going on. And, it's confusing at times when certain parts of the country, they're doing different things. So it's trying to make sense of that. And I think it's confusing for all of us. It can be frustrating in a lot of ways. And so I think their mentality and just kind of creating a rhythm for their day and how they operate right now, I think they've done a really good job, and they're really eager to get back. And we're able to do some things with them here in the last couple of weeks and just, actually see them in person. And so that's been great. And just, I think they're just excited to get going, and we still, have a lot of work to do, and not only on the football field, but just how we navigate all this. So I think they're sure energized, but I'm proud of them. Just how they've handled it, and they've got a lot of support from our campus and our athletic department in the meantime.
Okay, next question will go to Trace Travers.
All right, there we go. Hey, Justin, how are you doing?
Hey, Trace, I'm well. How are you?
Pretty good. I wanted to ask about some of the biggest things we've seen so far in football have been kind of, I guess, sloppiness on defense, special teams, offense. How do you kind of start to approach those issues when you maybe don't have as much time to work on the technique as you'd particularly like?
Yeah, there are going to be challenges in preparing the team for the season. We're not going to make any excuses on the limitations. I mean, it's we have a game November 7th that we got to prepare for, and our job as coaches is to prepare the team so that they can, be confident and healthy and have good fundamentals, and so we can go out and play our best. And so I think how you practice is going to be really important. How we practice is going to be really important. What you're working on, having a really clear and concise message during the actual drill or the day. There's just not a lot of room or time for waste. And so I think that's a test for us as coaches and our team. And we look forward to that test.
In continuing with that, you guys do have the 75-person cohorts that you expect to be expanded by Friday. How do you kind of structure that? Do you structure the offensive ones with the defensive ones? Do you go best on best? Do you kind of do an offense versus defense scout team type deal? Or has that really been discussed at this point?
Yeah, we've had a lot of discussions about it. Once we got that order, 10 days ago or a week ago or whatever it was. The 75 person, you got to be deliberate with who's in that group. How do you want to practice? How long is the practice? How many reps per player? How much individual? Because the lines get shorter. And then the remaining, the second group are guys that are going to play. And there's going to be guys in that, in the second group that, we got to develop and spend time on. And so I think it's just being real deliberate with how you practice and what you're getting out of it. And again, just not wasting time. Wasting reps and understanding that the lines are going to be shorter, and we're going to have to be creative with, how we teach them and how we get the drill work done.
Thank you.
Thanks, Trace. Next question, we will go to Adam Rittenberg.
Hey, good morning, Justin.
Morning, Adam.
Hey, obviously you guys ended the season with some momentum. I know expectations, are high going into a year like this, but I'm wondering how you have managed that in the off season with all the uncertainty, and you're playing and you're not playing, but you have something going as a program. How have you and your players kind of managed that as you get closer to actually playing here, hopefully?
It's day to day, it's just, especially in these times. I mean, that's the focus. It has to be, what's right in front of you right now. And I think even looking back in January when we came back, got back into school and started our winter workout program. I mean, the focus that these guys had, the energy in the weight room and on when they're working and conditioning was great. I mean, it was phenomenal. There's some special leadership on the team, some veteran players who on both sides of the ball have played a lot for us. And I think you just see that even in January and February. And we got 4 practices in March, which doesn't seem like a lot, but it was extremely valuable for us as we transitioned and especially offensively with a new system in place. But I don't have concerns with our team and how, what they read or see. They understand what's in front of us. We have our own internal expectations on how we do things. We have our own standards on how we do things. And so I think it's, in these times, it's really just day by day what's right in front of us. And I think our guys have done a nice job focusing on that.
Where do you think you can improve the most as a team this year?
Oh, geez. Well, I'd like to think we could all improve. I mean, there's going to be new faces. We have, defensively, for example, we lost some really good football players that were extremely productive for us. So there's going to be new faces on that side of the ball. And, I think it'll be fun to watch those guys compete and see how that shakes out offensively. We have a new system in place. We have a lot of returning experienced players, but it is a new system. I think just being a complete team and, championship football teams are very, very consistent, and not just in performance, but how they do everything. And whether it's, workouts, weight room, how we're performing off the field, how we're handling ourselves off the field. I think those things are just so critically important in championship programs, and we're working towards that. And I don't know that we'll ever be content with where we are. We're always going to be a work in progress, but really, I think the character of the guys on the team and the focus of what's in front of them has been noticeable, and that's a good thing.
Next question, we will go to Bruce Feldman.
Good morning, Justin. I was curious, you get Cam back, and I know obviously you have a new position coach back there, but he was with you for so long. Beyond just what he does on the field, what does he mean to now have back in that position room and just kind of the leadership and energy you get from him?
Yeah, you hit it on the head. I mean, Cam's a fantastic player, a really, really good football player, and he's been extremely productive for a long time for us. But he's an even better person, and what he brings off the field, how he conducts himself, how he prepares, how he lives his life. I mean, he is just a fantastic guy and a great example for our team and our younger players. And Cam's not a real, rah, loud guy, but he is so consistent and so motivated, and you see it every day, in his actions. And that is golden in terms of leadership qualities and what that means to our team and the players who are new to the program, and watching a guy who's had a lot of success, but continues to work at his craft, continues to push himself and be a leader. And again, just the type of person he is and what he does off the field, how he treats people. He's a special guy.
What's been your relationship with him, and what was it like when you saw that he was going to prepare for the NFL draft, and then, the mindset of the uncertainty, and then, kind of how that grew from there? Well,
there's, Cam, and like I said, I've been here 3 years with him, and just truly enjoyed being around him. And he's had, a couple of off seasons where he probably could have made the transition to the NFL, and we've supported him in that process. And I totally understood when this all happened and they postponed the season initially. He put a lot of thought into it. We talked, and he knew that we were going to support him no matter what. And, we were really here just to answer questions, and anything we could do in terms of being a resource for him, we were going to do. And so he made that decision. We fully supported that. When things started to kind of shift and we got the daily testing lined up and it was announced that we were going to play again, Cam and I talked again, and he really it wasn't a flinch. There was no recruiting. As soon as he found out that might be possible, I mean, he said, hey, if we're going to play in the fall, I want to play. And so we talked, and as soon as it went down, we got on the phone again. It was really quick and easy, and he was excited to come back. So he's in that process now, and he's back up here. And again, just couldn't be more excited for him and our team to have a guy like that back with us.
Next question, we will go to Nicole Auerbach.
Justin, as you were kind of describing waiting for clearance, it's a great reminder of, why the Pac-12 had unique challenges coming back. And I think when people look at the schedule and they look at the amount of games on paper, they wonder, can the Pac-12 get a shot at the playoff? Do you think it's realistic?
I don't know how the next two to 3 months are going to go. I don't know if anybody does. I think we're all doing the best we can in the situations that we're in. I would think that I know what kind of teams we have in the conference. I know there's talented players, some excellent football teams. So I would hope that would be part of the discussion. I mean, I think there's a really good argument for that, but I think, we probably get ahead of ourselves. I know I don't spend time thinking about that. We don't, because there's so much, especially in a time like this, that, there's just kind of these landmines that we got to navigate, and we need to focus on today and then tomorrow getting clearance and then practicing on Friday. That's it. For us to be worried about December 19th, January, I mean, we're kind of wasting time and energy at that point. So I understand the topic, and it's probably makes for great discussion, and there's legitimacy in that. But for us, we're trying to prepare so we can have a really good Friday, and that's what we're focused on.
Okay, next question, we will go to Jim McGill.
Hey, Justin, good to see you. How are you?
I'm well, Jim. How are you?
Great, thanks. So there's been a lot of thinning out of the depth on the defensive line. Can you talk a little bit about how you navigate that?
Yeah, new faces, and there's going to be some guys that have opportunities to play, and I think those guys are going to be ready to take that step. Now, it might not be one person; it might be a combination of people. And losing Luke, who was a veteran guy that played a lot. Obviously, you don't love that, but that's kind of the way it is. And so there's some other guys that are going to have some opportunities. And again, whether it's guys that have been here for a year or two, or maybe some of these freshmen. And I think they've been here working out, and we'll get them, in whatever role they could potentially help us in, we'll get them prepared. And if they can do something, then they'll be out there on the field.
Is there any talk about potentially moving a couple of guys back, like Eric Nisich or Ben Coleman?
Yeah, there's some package things we could do. We've talked through some of that, but we'll see. We're moving forward as is right now, and again, this is one of those things. As we've talked about today, it's just we got to be ready to adjust, whether it's how we practice or what the schedule is, or even positions. And a lot of things could happen, so we've got to be ready to adjust, and that's certainly possible.
And then one more follow-up question. You've briefly addressed the guys who aren't going to be back, Tevin being an opt-out. Can you note who else is an opt-out, and if Tevin or any others might potentially be coming back because of that?
Yeah, I would tell you this. The guys that have opted out are Gabe Cherry, Eric Hartunian, Jeremiah Hawkins, Isaiah Humphrey, Steve McIntosh, Ben Moose, Brandon Owens, Tevin Paul, and George Spithorst. Those are the guys that have opted out.
And might any potentially return?
Remains to be seen.
Okay.
Okay, next question, we will go to Jasper Sundin.
Hey, Coach. Hope you're doing well. It's very exciting to be here and hear from you. Um, I just wanted to ask, I mean, obviously in the NFL, a lot of players have contracted COVID-19, and I don't think that's happened a lot at the college level. But I was just wondering, how are student athletes going to stay safe and stay healthy?
There's protocols that have been put in place by the conference, and then the local public health officials, and then the institutions, medical staff. And so we have those, and everybody's doing their best to abide by those protocols and also prepare for a football season. So there is juggling there, and it's, nobody, again, the daily testing has been a big part of this in order for us to potentially and hopefully get back on the field, which we anticipate, like I said, Friday. But again, there's COVID's still out there, and we have to follow the protocols that are set in place so we can continue to practice and play. And that's our role as coaches, support staff, players, anybody in the program. We got to do our best to do that.
Absolutely. And I apologize for this next question. This might be a bit outside your wheelhouse, but I think it would be remiss as a student reporter if I didn't ask it. So you guys obviously have access to this testing, and I'm tremendously excited to see what you guys do. But do you have any thoughts on maybe Cal football getting access to these resources while other campus communities don't? And I know that's not exactly, again, in your wheelhouse, but do you have any thoughts there?
I understand the question. I think that would be better asked to the administration and the university. We're fortunate to have been provided the daily testing, so we're able to, by the Pac-12, and so we're able to continue or try to continue on with our practice and our season, our abbreviated season. But I think that question's better directed for the administration, the university, and the Pac-12 conference.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for taking the time, Coach.
Absolutely.
Okay, next question, we will go to James Crepier.
Justin, just a quick policy question on recruiting. I know you can't speak to it specifically, but you guys are obviously recruiting pretty well right now. Should the December signing period stay as scheduled, since nobody's been able to have any in-person contact for 8+ months, and it's not going to be through the end of the year? Or should everybody sign in February or April or something? And I realize there's mid-year enrollees, but there's ways around that in terms of financial aid agreements and the like. But should the December signing period stay?
Yeah, we would be in favor of that, and I think it's a one. Anticipate this being a one-off year in terms of the recruiting schedule and process. And so we would be in favor of keeping that December signing period to remain kind of on schedule as best we can.
Thanks.
Okay, next question will go to Dan Rayleigh.
Hi, Justin.
Hello.
I was wondering, how do you game plan for the great quarterback unknown at Washington, where there's no video, almost no experience, yet at the same time, half of the candidates are related to family members on your team, and a third guy played at Sacramento? It's kind of a weird deal, isn't it?
Yeah, it's unique. We know that they're going to be very talented and very well coached. So who's out there and the different formations and plays, yeah, there is the unknown there. But we do know they're going to be really talented and really well coached. So that's what we do know. Our job is to prepare our team as best we can. And like any first game, there's going to be things that you probably hadn't seen and then you'll have to adjust to. That's just the nature of the first game.
Okay, we've got time for maybe one, maybe two more. We'll go to Rusty Simmons.
Yeah, Coach, I was going to ask a quick one about Chase Garbers. Kind of your expectations of him this year, and in the limited time that you've seen him with Coach Musgrave, what are your thoughts on that relationship?
I think Chase has done an awesome job this offseason, and continuing to be really engaged with Bill and the new offense. And Chase played a lot of football for us, and he is a junior, and he seems like he's been here for a long time, and that's a good thing for us. I mean, he's been through a lot and played a lot, so I think he's going to continue to grow as a football player, as a person. He's older and just, he's seen a lot more, and so just anticipate him building on what he's done so far, and he's done a fantastic job picking up the offense. He's a sharp guy. Steady, very, very steady demeanor. So I look forward to him continue to grow as a quarterback. And I think it'll be a really good, experience for him and learning this offense. And like I said, he's picked it up very, very quickly, and which is a tribute to the coaches, the system, and Bill working with him. It's been really neat to see.
Okay, last question will go to Jake Curtis.
Hey, Jake, I think you're muted.
Yeah, you got me?
Yep.
Okay, sorry about that. If you get the local clearance and you can go ahead Friday, would there be any limitation? In other words, would there be contact, full pads, all that stuff?
The limitations are the ones that are in any, traditional fall camp, so to speak, in that you got to start out in helmets. And the other difference would be we're in a 20-hour care rule, which is an in-season schedule, where in a typical August, you have a full day of fall camp, which is kind of an all-day, schedule. So it's different in terms of the time you can spend with them, and but in terms of the actual practice, other than the numbers, obviously the actual practice limitations are the same as they've always been.
Thanks.
All right, that's all we have time for. Coach Wilcox, best of luck this season. Thanks for taking the time this morning.
All right, thanks. Go Bears.